take two. Oh, but it is good to be back. It's been a while.
I tried to do it again, and then
Stop with the head rushy thing, man. You're getting over a cold.
I'm trying. It's muscle memory at this point.
I know.
Dance to this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 98 of the Gene Pool Variety Hour. I am the old guy of the group. I'm Sean. I'm Dad. And the guy on the other screen or in your other ear is...
Hey, guys. I am Connor, also known as Quillmeister, also known as the spawn of that one on the other screen over there.
Okay.
Oh,
We didn't have to go into the whole spawn thing. What is this, like, salmon going upstream thing? Okay, anyway.
I mean, if you think about it, you did kind of return to where you were born.
Well, you do.
It was a big journey.
Well, you do remember what your first nickname was when you were first born, right? You remember us telling you what it was?
No, I don't actually.
Swimmer, because one of my swimmers made it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
anyway, all right. So yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
I'll take Swimmer over Tucker any day.
yeah, there you go. So anyway,
Oh,
listen. Thanks for popping in and listening. We're just a dad and a son, both nerds that like to talk about nerdy stuff. So
Exactly.
if you don't know who we are, don't know what we do, we typically will pick a random movie every week and watch a random movie and talk about it. We got a good one this week. And then just sometimes we'll have a nerd question that we debate, and usually we just banter about a bunch of nerdy stuff. So that's what we do.
Exactly.
So thanks for stopping by. Thanks for putting us in your ear. And let's just get started. So first of all, I want to say for folks that do listen and have probably been wondering why there's been so many weeks since our last episode, there's been a lot of stuff going on. And I'm not going to go into a lot of details. There's just been a lot of family emergency, family medical issues, just a lot of family stuff. So life got in the way for about a month. It's still there, but we've kind of been able to get above it a little bit so that we can actually get back to our fun stuff. So that's why we've been gone for a while. We're going to try to get, as the fall progresses, we're going to try to get more consistent because we're at episode 98, man. We're 2 away from getting to episode 100, which we never thought we would get there. We should have gotten there about 3 years ago. But anyway, so that's where we're at. So what's been going on with you, man?
Let's see. I've been gaming a bit more. I've been. Oh, we started school back at our school recently, so that's been fun.
Yeah, that's good.
I've got a great team working with me. We've been hitting our marks on the daily. It's just been going really good. Been going really smoothly.
Now sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
We currently only have 11 kids, but 2 of them just pulled out to go back to their original school. Well, so now we only have 9 kids as of right now in our classroom.
Gotcha. Now, weren't you telling me that your head teacher in your classroom resigned?
So the story with that is essentially her mom in Ghana is sick, very sick. So she had 2 options she could go for. One was her husband goes back to Ghana, takes care of her in the meantime. But then if he did that, then that would mean that there would be nobody to pick up her daughter from school. Or she could have fully resigned and go back to Ghana herself and still have someone here to ferry her kids to and from school and everything.
Wow.
So
hard decision.
So she told us on Thursday, yesterday, what she chose. She said she's going to stay part-time in the school until they find a full replacement lead teacher for our classroom.
Okay.
So she's basically
That's good.
So she's basically going to be working from 8 until basically nap time.
Okay. Well, at least she's not leaving you guys
day.
high and dry. She's trying to
No,
help
of
y'all
course.
bridge to somebody. That's good. Yeah, but
Exactly.
man, listen, I get the whole parent. I mean, that's where I was 2 weeks ago. I had to take off to Alabama because my parents, are
Yeah,
elderly.
I remember.
And my mother has Alzheimer's, and they both got COVID, and we had to scramble to do some things. Your grandmother was in the hospital, and
You also got COVID, didn't you?
And so I drove 10 hours to Alabama so that I could get COVID. Hey, let me tell you, you talked a while ago about getting a little head rushy when you were bouncing your head, dancing to the theme music. Try still having.
I got the flu, by the way, guys.
Try still having COVID and driving home up and over those mountains through Tennessee and Kentucky.
Oh man!
You want to talk about head rushes? Man, I'm like, is this what morphine feels like? So I wanted to. It was not fun. Well, it was fun, but not safe. Let's put it that way. So, but I made it home. I'm here. So anyway, but yeah. I mean, I've been playing a little bit lately too, and we're going to get into the one that we've been playing a lot of here soon. We'll talk about that in a minute. Mm-hmm. But anything else going on?
I've gotten back into writing actually.
Good.
Since I don't have a lot of, so I still have my regular household chores, but they're not doubled up anymore because,
Mm-hmm. Life, so certain things getting in the way.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I now have a lot more free time to organize my thoughts and actually get back to writing.
Yeah, well, that's good.
So I'm starting with my first original idea, which was as you remember them being called
the
Ronick.
Ronick Chronicles. You're going back to that first book. Okay, that's cool.
But I'm making a couple of little changes. For one, so originally I chose the name Ronick because it was kind of loosely based on my name just backwards, but it's fancied up a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm kind of changing it to just the Eric Chronicles because I like the name Eric, and that's a little bit more relatable than a weird ass name,
Yeah.
And so I'm starting from the ground up by first making racial bios and racial models for all of the representative races in that world.
I think that's great.
So just give you a little bit of lore. We have the humans. Just because you gotta have humans.
Yeah.
We have my interpretation of elves. So most people write the elves as like forest dwelling archery kind of people.
Right.
I kind of went in a sort of opposite way. The my elves are nomadic, desert dwelling, almost almost Arabic kind of themed in a way.
Gotcha.
And then we have the dwarves. They essentially live on a small island that is mostly mountain.
Right.
But the entire interior of the mountain is their country, and the underside of it too.
Right. Okay.
Then of course we have the orcs and everything.
Yeah.
So those are the four unique. So those are the four classic races that I feel like you always have to include.
Right. Gotcha.
Then we get into my own original creations.
Oh yeah, you had some. I didn't forget what those were though. It's been a while.
So first off, we have the Airvotians. They are these bird-like humanoids that essentially their engineers created magical engines that allowed airship travel and everything. So they essentially advanced that enough to basically get major land masses from their original country to just lift up off the ground, and so now they just fly throughout the skies of their world, always traveling, always gaining knowledge.
So it sounds a little steampunkish and a little I think, and I think it's called Discworld. I don't know that I read them. I may have read the first book a long time ago when I was in high school or something. But I think that there are worlds that basically float. I can't remember, and I may be getting that wrong. So people who are Discworld fans, if I've got it wrong, I apologize. I know that there's a story out there like that. I can't remember if it's Discworld or not. But anyway.
Think more like the Aquarians and their flotilla, from Mass Effect.
Oh, gotcha.
They're constantly traveling,
Mm-hmm.
Their original homeland was lost to this major storm. Basically, where they had already started traveling via the air and going all around.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then a storm happened. And essentially their country was just wiped out, sank into the ocean. So then they had to just keep on traveling around the world in
Right.
these airships and such.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Well, cool. Well, I'm
And
glad that you're moving in that
uh,
direction. So.
can I talk about the other two?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Hold on.
That's
Hold on.
okay.
Is one of them a chicken race? I just
No.
wanted to do that. We're not chasing the chicken because this is part of the conversation. But I just wanted to press the button.
Oh man. The next one is a race I call the Demiscu. They are a race of humanoids that evolved from the union of humans and demons, and they essentially have a country that's a little bit bigger than the continent. Than the island of Japan, and it's divided into three sections with one color like having their main home in each section. There are the reds, the blue, and the violets.
Okay.
And this race is very diplomatic. They're very charismatic, and they are masters of stealth and espionage as well.
Okay. Cool.
And then the final race is are called the Corallians. These this is my race of people who are essentially did you ever see that thing on HBO Max, that show of like creature commandos?
I
Did you see
think
that show
so.
on Max?
I think so.
Do you
I don't,
do
anyway.
you remember that fish girl that was on that show?
No. Sorry.
Um, so the Corallians are basically fish people, not mermaids, because they're able to fully adapt between land and sea with ease, and they stay bipedal. But when they get in the water, their fingers and toes grow webbing, and they grow fish fins along their back to help them swim and navigate through the water.
Gotcha.
But they're able to adapt between land and sea pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Another trait they have is they are naturally genderless, but as they grow up and they choose someone as a mate, those when they connect, they will naturally start to grow opposing genders to then be partners.
So they literally grow a pair.
Literally.
Gotcha. Okay. Fair enough.
I kind of inspired that idea because there are actually a lot of sea creatures that have that exact same evolutionary traits, So I just thought it was a cool thing to adapt to a humanoid race.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, just to give folks a little bit of backstory, Connor wrote this book, literally a 400-page novel in high school, and our graduation present to Connor was sending it off to like an
evaluator,
an independent like script evaluator. So just to kind of give him feedback. We weren't submitting it for publication, but we wanted him to get an evaluation to see, what needs to be done, And I mean, she did a good job.
And it got denied.
Well, of course. Well, but you didn't submit it for
all
publication.
first drafts get denied.
Of course,
it wasn't all first drafts do though.
But it wasn't even submission for publication. It was just, hey, we want you to read this and tell us what you think, so that we can work, so that you can work on it to maybe submit it for publication. And I mean, she read the full 400-page manuscript, and
I still have the evaluation on my bookshelf.
And she still got and she sent you 25 typed pages of feedback, I think. So we thought it was great. And I mean, basically, she said it's not publishable. It's never going to be publishable as is. Her recommendation would be just start fresh with something new, from the ground up. It would take a lot of work to get that one in publishable form. But she did say, clearly it shows that you had talent, and if you just would work at honing that craft, you could be a publishable author. But you were 18, and with Asperger's, and you had in your head, I'm going to submit it. She's going to love it. I'm going to get published and get rich and be famous. And it didn't happen.
It made me hurt.
And it did. I mean, you took it really hard, and then you just didn't write for a couple of years. So, and then life has gotten in the way. So I'm glad to hear that you're, and one of the things that I would always tell you, because you remember when you would have your mom and I read parts of it, you remember I'd always tell you it felt like I was riding a roller coaster and grabbing on for dear life because you were pushing the story through so fast.
Exactly.
And I always encourage you, hey, dude, do a plot outline and then write from the plot outline so you can be as detailed as you want and not get away from the message. And you used to always say, I just got to get it on paper, right? So I love the fact. I know, but hold on. So I love the fact that you're, doing this where you're kind of starting to map things out, mapping out the races, kind of getting all the foundational stuff down before you start writing. I think that's fantastic. So I just want to give you some props.
In my defense at the time, that is, in high school is when I really dived into anime, and I got so creatively inspired by anime that I basically kind of internalized and then regurgitated all this like anime themed coded stuff into my books. And it's like, it's like I really did try to write 4 different stories all in one kind of thing, and it was just insane.
Yeah, I mean, on my end, you remember I wrote that short story, right? Kind of based on MK Ultra and everything, and got it published. And when I wrote it, it felt to me like, man, this feels like a prologue to a novel, or to a kind of because it felt like world building, and everybody that read it said the same thing. And so I've always wanted to kind of work on maybe considering a novel with that as like the prologue, but I've never been able to come up with some kind of plot idea, right? And I feel like I need to have some kind of idea of a framework for a plot before I even start to consider writing. So I did.
Question.
Go ahead.
So they're selling this book, correct?
Oh, the little
anthology of poems.
Yeah, not poems, short stories.
So with you having a piece of that, do you get residuals because of what you wrote in that?
Because that book was being sold for charity, so I don't get any. Now I think they paid me $50 for my short story to put in the book, but I don't get residuals because that was for charity. It's something they do every year for charity. So
I was just curious.
No, right. So so I did. I got on ChatGPT, just say, hey. And I did. I said, if I gave you my short story, could you come up with some kind of idea of a plot? And so I gave ChatGPT my short story, and it started to give me some ideas for a plot. Now, I'm not getting it to write it for me. I'm not getting it to give me character sketches and all that kind of stuff. But it was a great way to kind of break that mental block, right? That writer's block, to give some ideas. So I'm really excited to kind of sit down with that and kind of start getting some ideas and start putting a plot outline together myself. I would love to do that.
So little confession on my part.
Yeah.
I am using ChatGPT to help me make reference models, model art for my races. Just basically neutral kind of stuff to put in my notes to help me organize my thoughts as I'm writing this stuff.
Dude, listen, that's nothing. It's when it's these people, and look, there are people literally out there that have gotten AI to write novels for them, and then they publish it. I'm like, whoa. And I'm not, that's why I'm like, okay, I basically have used it to kind of help me break some writer's block to get some ideas for a plot, so I can take that and say, okay, I've got a seed, now I can work with it, right? Because I just had this block. I just could not think of a plot that didn't sound like every other spy, military, government thriller kind of, thing out there. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to maybe doing that at some point. That would be kind of cool.
Nice.
I would love to do that. Even if it never got published, but be able to say I wrote one, that would be kind of cool. You got me beat there.
I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
What is MK Ultra?
MK Ultra. Okay, MK Ultra was a secret CIA project, and I think the 60s. I got it, and I need to make sure I get my timelines on.
If it was a secret project, how do you know about it?
Because it's been declassified. It's out, but it was secret back then, where they were giving they were secretly dosing people with PCP and LSD and stuff, and because they were literally trying to unlock telepathic mind reading powers in people. It was like this secret thing. It was so secret that they were using, at one point they were using prostitutes in like a brothel in I think San Francisco
to trap people.
And no, and they were these CIA people were behind like a two-way mirror, and the prostitute would secretly dose their Johns with the drugs, and then the CIA would kind of observe what was going on. So just like some like really just kind of
a trap.
But it was really, and some interesting stuff to try to create like mental warriors, telepathic warriors for the government, for dark, assassination type stuff. And so my story is,
I'm guessing they never got any result.
No. But my story is, they did, but they didn't know it because for some people it unlocked telepathic powers for them, but then they kept it hidden and they tried to live a normal life. So it's like people with superpowers that are trying to live a normal life and keep their powers hidden because they're running from the government. And my short story is, one of them's powers became known. Just so happens it became known to another individual that also had the powers. And so it kind of becomes people with powers that are trying to hide from the government, but the government's trying to get them to either kill them off or to use them for government assassinations and stuff. So that's kind of what the general plot world building is. But I just got to come up with a plot for a novel. So
hey Dad, I've got a cool idea that just that's came into my head. So what if you wrote out the chapters as if you were transcribing audio files this guy left behind as he's running from the government?
That would be kind of cool, but I've already got an interaction between these two main characters that are going to end up being a couple, and they're going to end up being like a network of people and stuff. And so, I mean, I'd have to figure out how I could work it in your format with those characters, the way I've already got them built in the prologue. So
that's fair.
But okay, enough of that. Enough of novel chicken chasing.
Well, hey, there can never be enough novel chicken chasing. There can never be enough.
Maybe
you say that again. No.
Or should we, put the sign where it should be naval chicken chasing. That would be an interesting. Anyway, so we mentioned a while ago we've been playing some games more. Look,
before we talk about the main one, I want to talk about another game that I played.
I do too. So go ahead.
So, long story short, I messed up my ankle last week, so I was laid up for 3 days. And during that 3 days, I bought a game that was on sale. I got the full package. That was like originally $150, and I got it for $25.
Yeah.
It was a major steal.
Okay.
So I got these. I got Avatar, Western Frontier, Pandora, that game.
Yeah.
And oh my, I fell in love with this game.
I doubt it was $150 though.
No, but with it, I got all the DLC, the season pass, and a whole bunch of other stuff included with the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like 2-3 other games worth of DLC in with the main game.
Right. Okay.
So the whole premise is that I thought you were playing like Jake Sully, you were playing an avatar in the game, but no. It turns out you are playing an actual native Navi who was part of this essentially an ambassador program of at the time humans trying to teach Navi children about the Earth world, so that then they could have native Navis going out and acting as actual ambassadors between Navis and humans. But,
okay. All right. Got you.
But essentially, some stuff happens, and you get put in cryo sleep as the events of the actual Avatar movie play out, you are then put into cryo sleep, and then you wake up, and it's suddenly years later after that, and so now you're playing. So now you're playing catch up to try and investigate what happened and how to, and you're essentially going against the program you were originally part of, because they're now the bad guys, and you're now working with resistance, fighting against them.
Okay, all right.
And it is just an amazing game because you're able to hunt like the Na'vi. You're able to bond with the Na'vi. The scene, do you remember in the movies where those like big flying beasts, the Ikran?
Oh yeah. Where you
the
had to
piece
like
of
connect your hair, your ponytail to their ponytail.
Exactly.
Basically, kind of have this weird sex ride with a dragon kind of thing. Yeah, I remember that.
Exactly.
That was kind of weird, but yeah.
The gameplay of you going through all of that, actually getting to choose your Ikran, getting to name your Ikran, that your main character actually says their name and everything. That's a great bit of coding. That whole scene, it felt so emotional because you actually felt connected to this thing. I don't know how they wrote it or how they coded it that way, but they did. I was so happy that I was able to ride this literal dragon.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't get to play as much as I used to, so I play very few games. I pick ones that are going to have lots of replay value and play the stink out of them, which is we're going to talk about that in a minute. But
yep.
But yeah, another one for me. Anything more you wanted to say about that one?
We were actually talking about replayability just the other night, weren't we?
Today, I think, or maybe it was last night. We're talking about L.A. Noire, which was a great game, but there was zero replayability to that game.
I loved watching you play that game.
It was a fun game to play because it was literally like playing L.A. Confidential, the movie. That's what it felt like. And it wasn't just motion capture; it was facial capture too. So it was just really realistic looking. But yeah, it's like once you played it once, there was no need to play it ever again, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, the game that I've started, something's going on in the background. The game that I've started playing, is Destiny Rising on my phone.
Really?
Yeah. And dude,
and you're not a big mobile game kind of guy.
No, and the only reason why I'm playing it is because I miss playing Destiny, but I do everything I've heard about the new. I'd gotten burned out already. It'd gotten to be a grind for me, and everything I'd read about the new stuff that came out, the new expansion that came out, was going to be even kind of more grindy, and that's kind of what I'm hearing. And I just didn't want to even
What's
start.
This new one that's coming out? I've been seeing ads for it lately.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've been seeing. Oh, jeez, what is it? Reckoning. It starts with an R. I was seeing ads for it on my Xbox.
You mean on the Xbox? I mean, you for Destiny?
Yeah.
It's called Renegades.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
It's gonna have some Star Warsy kind of stuff in it. But anyway, but
it's all Star Wars.
But yeah, right.
It's
but
they Star Wars magic.
So they came out with
Destiny. You can see.
They came out with Destiny Rising, and it doesn't connect to Destiny 2 at all. So it's not like you can transfer any of your stuff to the real game.
It's its own standalone thing.
It is, but it's in the Destiny universe. You've got Ikora, you got the Vex, you've got the Cabal, you've got all that kind of stuff. But instead of
do you have Cade 6?
Instead of you're frozen by the way.
Do you have Cade 6?
Stop. No, don't have Cade 6.
Do you have Cade 6?
No, I don't have Cade 6. Anyway, but instead of having 3 classes and then you just build it up, there are characters that you can unlock, and they each have their own special abilities and stuff. So each of them have their own supers, their own. Anyway, but to be honest with you, and of course I've got that mobile controller for my phone. And yes, it's a mobile game, so they want to nickel and dime you with stuff. You can slowly unlock pretty much everything for free. It just takes you a really long time, so that's why they encourage you to buy more. But but anyway, so anyway, but if you could, but you can. It's kind of loud in the background over there, so. It's distracting.
I know.
But
I forgot to close my door.
So I'll let you close your door while I'm talking then. with Destiny Rising, I'm really kind of surprised at all the things there are to do in this game. It actually feels like there's more different things to play in Destiny Rising than in Destiny 2. Now, that's mainly because... sorry, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. So anyway, what I was saying was that there's actually more game modes in the mobile game than there are in Destiny 2.
What do you mean?
There's just different kinds of ways of playing games. Yes, they have strikes. Yes, there's something. I think they have Iron Banner type stuff. But there's just different kind of game modes. There's like a game mode where you're playing by yourself and you're going through these waves, and you've got a certain amount of time to finish each wave to get to the end. And if you get to the end, then you get to open a chest. If you beat it under a certain amount of time, you get a second chest. If you beat it an even shorter time, you get a third chest. So there's just different game modes. There's you can be in a clan, but then your clan has its own place where you can go and you can mine for resources to try to build up, your clan base or whatever. There's just a bunch of different things to do, which is kind of cool. So that's what I play when I'm on my phone. I don't play any of the other stuff anymore. It's just kind of cool. So, so there's that. So that's the side thing that I've been playing lately is Destiny Rising, which surprises the heck out of me. Because when I first heard about it, I'm like, please, there's no way I'm going to be interested in this. But it's actually pretty good. As a matter of fact, they had a raid today.
Really?
They had a raid. They have a raid in the game now, and it came out I think today because I was watching one of my Destiny 2 streamers today on YouTube. His team were doing the raid. Now, granted, it's not near as complex and near as long as a Destiny 2 raid. I think it took them a half an hour to do it once they figured out the mechanics. So it didn't take. So it's because it's a mobile game, but it's still a 6-person raid where they have to figure out the mechanics and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, who would have thought that you'd have a mobile game where you actually have raids? So it's kind of cool. So it's kind of neat. So, but let's talk about the elephant in the room with the billion guns, right? So look, obviously. If any of you people that listen to this or know Connor or I at all, you know that Borderlands is probably our favorite game series.
Yep.
And we have played those forever. Ever since he was a kid and the first one came out, he would watch me play, and then they would play, and then we did 2, and we did 3, and all that kind of stuff. Connor's even played more than I have. You've played on more than I have.
I did pre-sequel,
yeah,
which you just got into, and I completed Wonderlands.
Right, and I got Wonderlands, and I started playing it, and then I just got sidetracked and never finished it. But Borderlands 4 came out, and I was really disappointed in 3. I didn't like the more cartoony graphic style from 2 to 3, and I really, really, really could not stand Troy and Tyrene. The bad guys. Could not stand them. It was just adolescent, potty humor, stupid. I mean, yes, they were designed to be annoying, but they weren't enjoyably annoying. They were just so annoying I didn't want to play the game. And so I never finished it. But this summer, as Borderlands 4 is getting ready to come out, I said, well, I'm just going to give it another shot. And I ended up actually enjoying. I got past that stuff and just played the game and enjoyed the game. But Borderlands 4... it might be the best one of all of them.
How so?
I think. Because it's bringing back... look, one, the humor is not like it was in 3. It's a more grounded humor, a little bit darker. Movement is different and better. There's so many different things that you can do. Ways to get around. It's an open-end. It's a fully open game. You can go anywhere, anytime. It's not, I got to go to this section of the map, then I got to load into this section of the map, then I got to. You can go anywhere. It's just an open-ended map. And I think this is probably my favorite set of Vault Hunters in any of the games. Now, granted, we've just started playing. I have only been playing Vex. You and I are going to play tonight. I'm probably going to start a Rafa character tonight, but I haven't played any of the other ones. But everything I've studied about them and learned about them, about their skill sets, they seem the most unique and just wild and just very deep skill sets. And just interesting. They're all four of them are somewhat interesting. Whereas, man, Borderlands 1, there was a couple of good characters, but there were a couple of the really bad ones. Borderlands 2, my favorite was Gage once she came out, but that was DLC.
Oh yeah.
So
mine was Krieg.
Yeah, I
loved Krieg.
I just think, now in Borderlands 3, I really liked
Zane.
Zane, and then the mech. What's her name again? The mech girl.
Mose.
I really like them, and Mose is probably the most powerful of all four of them, especially for end game stuff.
Yeah. Exactly, and if you spec her just right, you can literally just constantly be inside Iron Bear the entire time, just mowing people down.
Yeah,
that's how I spec'd out mine.
Yeah,
and literally I'm just clearing out encounters like that, just snapping them off.
Yeah, and so I like those two. I've never. This is the weird thing. I've never been interested in a siren character. None of them have ever grabbed me. But this year, Vex seemed to grab me because me, I like the buddy style, the buddy gameplay style where you have like a buddy going around with you. I mean, you look at me play Destiny 2 with my Warlock. I got arc and solar buddies flying all over the place, lobbing out lava balls and arc balls and lightning balls all over the place. I just like that game style where, you got things running around the field with you doing your killing for you. And Vex has that with the Reapers and the Spectres where she can, spawn those out. But I've heard that her green skill tree is the most powerful for in-game, so I'll probably respec her at some point. But then Rafa's red skill tree with the shoulder cannons is actually supposed to be the most powerful build in the game, especially for in-game stuff. So that's what I'm going to do tonight when we play. But just everything that I've played so far, and granted, I'm not that far. I'm only like level 13 or 14 into the game. But just everything I've played so far has been an improvement on all the other games. There's live events that happen, and you can just be wandering around and end up in like a huge boss fight that just happens to be wandering around the map. So it adds some random number generator activities into the game a little bit. So you don't feel like, okay, I'm gonna fight these stupid beasts here. I'm gonna fight these guys over here. I'm gonna fight things move around. And as a matter of fact, they said that the wildlife in the game actually have like mobile patterns, so they kind of will migrate through the map over time. So they'll be somewhere else at different parts, and they'll just, so they have migratory patterns. So that's kind of cool. So, it's just adds some random nature to it. So I love the fact that you can grapple. It gives you some more movement. You can double jump. You can swim.
Yeah.
You can dip your toe in the water and not die.
You can double jump. You can glide.
Yeah. I just like the fact that you can, oh man, I touched the water with my toe and I'm dead, and it cost me $5 million because I got respect.
Literally, you touch a puddle and you die. You fall from a mountain peak and you land and just squat down.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Explain the logic.
Superhero land, man. Superhero land, but you're a witch from Wizard of Oz. If you get wet, you melt. So anyway, I just think it. And listen, in all the reviews,
who did you pick?
What do you mean?
Who did you pick for your first playthrough?
Vex.
First playthrough.
Vex. Yeah. Vex.
I went with Rafa.
Yeah. Vex is who I picked for, and I do want to get all the way through to that one first. But you wanted to kind of start new characters to play together, is what we're going to do tonight. So I think I'm going to do Rafa tonight.
I'm going to do Harlow because I love Harlow's vibe. She just seems really fun.
Yeah. She'll probably be the third one I'll play. Eamon will probably be the last one. I've heard,
If I'm being totally honest,
yeah,
I'm kind of with you on Eamon because even though his vibe I love, the guy who literally is like a modern day paladin barbarian dude, I love that vibe.
yeah,
I don't. Something about him just doesn't speak to me.
yeah,
Which
yeah.
is weird.
Well, and even though he is the biggest vault hunter they've ever made, they even said he's bigger than Krieg. So he's a big dude. But the content creator that I watched.
Hold on. If he's bigger than Krieg, he must be almost the size of freaking Reinhardt from Overwatch. Then.
Yeah, he's huge. He's huge.
He looks like Reinhardt. I'm just not realizing that.
Yeah,
he looks like Reinhardt.
He does. Seriously. He does. But a video that I watched that one of the Borderlands content creators that knows the game, and he did a tier of all the vault hunters, all 4 vault hunters of all 3 of their skill trees, their blue, red, green, and did a tier list, and then kind of added them all together. And overall, Vex and Rafa and Harlow were pretty equal power wise, but Eamon was like a big drop down. So I think overall he's kind of the weaker of all of them, even though it's kind of interesting with the axes he's throwing and all that kind of stuff, So yeah, he'll probably be the last one if I get around to it, if I don't get burnt out by then. But this is definitely a game that I will probably be playing pretty much nothing but this game for the next 6 to 12 months on the Xbox, because I don't buy many games. I'll play side stuff on Game Pass, but as far as like a main game, I mean this will definitely replace the time I spend in Destiny. It'll definitely take that.
Yeah.
So
there are so many games I have missed out on for because of that hiatus where I didn't have my Xbox.
Yeah, I know.
I know. And Pandora was one of those games that I missed out on that I'm really excited I got to play. Because I was I was laid up for 3 days. I was literally able to binge play the entire thing. And it even started a little bit of DLC before Borderlands 4 came out the next day on the 12th.
Yeah.
Another game that I really want is Monster Hunter Wilds. That's one.
Mm-hmm.
I've missed 2 of the Assassin's Creed games, Mirage and Shadows. And then I've heard some stuff about that Star Wars game that came out, Star Wars
Outlaws,
Star Wars Renegade, Outlaws. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard mixed reviews about it.
Yeah.
What have you heard about it?
Mixed reviews. Friends of mine that have played, they're like, yeah, it's okay, but there's a lot of problems with it. Now they may have patched those problems out. I don't know, but I'm not going to buy it. If it ever shows up on Game Pass, I'll play it, but I'm not going to go buy it. But yeah, the only thing that like Destiny has that Borderlands doesn't have.
Yeah, I think it's already out on like. What?
I don't know. It looked like there was a delay because I was talking and then you just started talking like I wasn't talking.
I know.
So anyway, yeah, fun for radio.
I think Outlaws is actually free to play if you have the Ubisoft one,
which I don't.
The Ubisoft membership.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, literally half of the stuff that's on the Ubisoft membership is already shared between EA Play and Game Pass, and
there's a lot of EA Play shared on Game Pass, but there's not a lot of Ubisoft stuff on Game Pass.
Really?
There's
like
there's some. But there's
some. There's like 4 Assassin's Creed games on Game Pass.
Right. There are. But Outlaws is not on Game Pass, and so if it ever comes out on Game Pass, I'll do it. But so the only thing that what I was saying was that the one main thing, the one big thing that Destiny has that Borderlands doesn't have is kind of like that online community, massive multi online stuff with you have the hub, you have the tower, and there's all these people there, and you can, there's not as much of that going on, and of course, you don't have the PvP stuff in Borderlands, which is fine by me because I hate PvP, but it's definitely, hey, friend, let's go play Borderlands together instead of hopping on and playing with people, right? Which you would do in Destiny. So, but it's a nice change of pace, and going back to the original looter shooter, which it certainly feels like it's trying to regain the crown for sure, because I really love it. So, anyway. So, anything else you want to talk about? We're getting kind of long in the tooth here, man. We still got a movie to talk about.
I say since we talked about our book ideas and then our games, we should just get right into the movie.
I agree. We didn't have a question anyway, so let's get right into the movie. So now it's time for roll for credits.
Roll for credits.
That's it. Didn't know if you were ready to say it, so I went ahead and said it. So, listen, the movie for this week is a movie from 2023. We watched it on Hulu. It's called Coup. Like a military coup, or social coup or whatever. It stars let me pull up my notes here. It stars Peter Sarsgaard. And then it also
not to be confused with Skarsgård,
which you did.
Literally, it's one letter difference.
So it stars Peter Sarsgaard, Billy Magnuson, Sarah Gadon. They were the three main characters, but there were some other people. But it was really a small cast. It was basically about 5 or 6 adults and a couple of kids. That was it. But so the tagline for the movie is, during the Spanish flu of 1918, a mischievous cook leads a revolt against his wealthy employer. So that's the tagline. So let me kind of give you a little bit of just a setup for this movie. So it's set in 1918. World War I is going on, and the Spanish flu pandemic is going on. You don't understand how similar watching the beginning of this movie felt like the COVID days. So much so that they had it when they were doing their opening credits and all the opening lines and stuff, and they were showing pictures and stuff. They showed a picture of somebody. Now, it may have been a period picture that they made to look like 1918. It may have been a picture from 1918, but somebody was wearing a sign around their neck that said, "Wear a mask or go to jail." How many times did we hear crap like that during COVID?
Right.
So it was, so that was the backdrop, but it was really more about class warfare. So you've got this family, you got Jay and Julie, they're the husband and wife, and they're living in this huge mansion on this island outside of New York City called Egg Island, which I guess is some kind of resort island. People go there in the summer, but really rich people live there or have their big homes there. So they live there. And he is a journalist. And so he is like a political journalist, and he is writing against the President of the United States, against the United States government, because this pandemic is going on, and he's saying the government is doing nothing to save people. I'm here to fight for the common man. President Wilson, you need to shut everything down, close all the businesses. I kept waiting for him to go, we need to flatten the curve. Just how many times did we hear that during COVID?
I know, right?
So he's this elite, he's part of the political, cultural elite, right? Rich, and he's writing for the common man to shut down everything, right? But there's no flu on the island, so they're safe. But he's got a maid, he's got a driver, he's got a nanny and teacher for his kids, and needs a cook. And so the movie starts with this guy shaving himself and he walks over to a table,
and you see this dude,
and there's a dead guy at the sitting at the table with a bullet in his head, and he gives the guy a kiss. He looks at the guy's identification to see if after he shaved himself, if he looks close enough to the guy to pass for him, dumps the guy's body, and then goes. Oh, and by the way, the dead body sitting at the table had a chef's hat on, so you knew he was the chef.
Yeah.
And this guy goes to the island and takes his identity and assumes his identity as a chef with his family. So what's going on? Did he murder the guy? You know, all that kind of stuff. And then you start hearing how sneaky and how fully lack of integrity the husband, the father has, the journalist has. Because he's writing all these
As
articles.
if he's there.
He's writing all these articles like he's in all the protests and he's in the trenches in New York City, you know, in the middle of the pandemic, because he feels he should be there for the common man when he's sitting isolated in his huge mansion on this isolated island. So he's lying to the
Egg
public.
Island. I've never even heard of that.
No, I haven't either. So he's lying to the public. Oh, since when have we heard complaints about the media presenting false information to the people?
Apparently during World War One.
How about during COVID and for the last 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
How many times have we heard people complain, "Oh, fake news and this media is lying to you. No, this media is lying to you." And we've caught some of them actually lying. So it was such a parallel between what was going on in this movie and COVID and the government and the political culture we live in now. Now listen, we've always called this place your geek safe space. Geek safe space, and we're not going to talk about politics and stuff. It's virtually impossible not to with this movie because it was right there in your face. So Floyd, he's the guy that's impersonating the cook. The whole movie's about him kind of, you know, getting into this family, into this environment, and kind of undermining everything and trying to usurp power and take over. And so it starts to become a little bit of this class warfare between the rich elite and the common man. The common man trying to get something out of the rich people because they're getting screwed, and the rich people trying to get away with everything. So that's kind of the general setup, right? So just top, 30,000 foot view. I loved this movie. I thought this was a great movie. It was kind of dark comedy, and there were some serious parts to it, but there was so much social commentary in this movie. It was just fantastic.
I wouldn't call it a comedy. I would say this is more like, it definitely lighthearted, not serious all the way. I would call it a lighthearted
dramedy, almost
psychological thriller in a way, because there's just these aspects where like this guy has something else behind his intentions, just like, and he's just pushing. He keeps pushing, and you're seeing the breakdown of Jay as Floyd keeps on just pushing away.
Yeah, he just it is, and so you just see him trying to get more and more control and more Floyd, trying to get more and more power and more benefits.
Do we ever get his actual name?
No. No, we don't. We don't actually. No, Floyd is actually the dead chef's name. So you're right. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. We never know what his name is. I don't think.
That's insane.
And so
in that case, should we say not Floyd when we're talking about him?
Just call him Floyd. We're just calling him Floyd because that's what the credits have him as, is Floyd. So that's going on, and he starts to get the other help in on it, and then the pandemic comes to the island, and so now they have to isolate at home. They have to quarantine at home, and so he starts to use, the family is over a barrel, and they're completely at the mercy of us because we're the ones that risk our lives going into town to get food for everything, and all this. So
Not to mention Floyd literally poisoned that Irish woman.
Yeah, because the maid was super suspicious of Floyd from the get-go, and so he had been out just foraging and getting some plants and things to cook, and she told him he couldn't cook one thing because it would make you crazy. It would just kind of make you all loopy and weird, and then she was really suspicious of him, so he went and got some and put some in her soup. Made her really sick, so they thought she had the plague. They shipped her off the island to get her out of there. But he just starts to create this class warfare coup going on in this household. And he gets the wife kind of to side with him and kind of ingratiates with her, and it just goes on and on and on, and Floyd is getting more and more power and control in the house. He talks them into letting the help move into the mansion instead of in the servants' quarters. He gets them to get Jay to agree to pay
Let them use the pool.
Let them use the pool. He
pay double wages.
Doubles their salary. So he starts to get all this kind of stuff going on.
They are even able to chill out in the main sitting room, drinking his alcohol, playing cards, and
with his wife
joins in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because she said, I wasn't always prim and proper. So she was clearly someone who had married up into the rich family.
Yeah.
And she was genuinely, I think, a good person.
Oh, definitely.
She was definitely genuinely a good person. But she had
great actress, by the way. She
had the common, kind of more the common background, so she could really easily interact with and have a relationship with the staff. And as he's getting more power and influence in the family, Jay is getting more and more suspicious and getting more and more out of control. Right? And accusing him of things, and the wife is like, "You're crazy." And so I don't know. I really want people to watch this movie, so I don't want to give away too much.
Can I talk about something that's kind of integral to the story, though?
Sure. Don't give something away, though. But yeah.
No, not too much, but just like so at some point, at about midway through the movie, we are.
Sorry. Technical difficulties. So anyway, so you were saying.
At one point, all the markets close on the island, so nobody is able to sell anything. So the mayor of this island essentially, he removed the hunting restrictions so people could start providing for themselves during this time. Now the I forget, was it Horton or Houghton?
Horton.
I think it was Horton.
Mm-hmm.
Horton, yeah.
Yeah.
The Horton family were vegetarians at the time.
Yeah.
But when they started rationing things and when they were starting rationing and getting hungry, Floyd started to suggest that they start hunting. But Jay, he was adamantly against it. Everybody else was all for it, and they were even helping him and everything. But Jay still was eating like this lone bag of rice, rationing this lone bag of rice, starving himself, getting more and more manic because he was so hungry.
Well, and the family too. The family was starving too.
But then he was eating this like measly serving of rice as everybody else was having venison, cooked fish, all this awesome stuff, and so he was like, this man is providing for my family when this is my job. Mm-hmm. And it just, you can start to see this disconnect happen between the kids and the family.
Yeah.
And so their whole reason for being vegetarian is because he didn't believe, and he didn't want his family to believe for any reason of taking a life, Right. So that's why they were strictly vegetarian. I'm not sure they were vegan, so maybe they had eggs, but I'm not sure.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
So there was this whole debacle, but as things were going on and he was getting more and more weak, there was this like intense scene where he was given like a piece of venison meat on a plate as he was sent to the servants' quarters because they thought he had the Spanish flu.
Oh no! Hold on. It wasn't on a plate. Floyd
No,
took
no,
it to.
It started on a plate.
Well, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Floyd, because he kept confronting Floyd and going, I know you're not who you say you are. And eventually there is a climactic scene between them where Floyd tells him the truth. But the truth isn't what you, the viewer, thought the truth was at the beginning. And I'm not going to say what it is because I want people to hear it. So, is your mic off? There, yeah. I thought
Weird.
your mic was off.
Yeah. I had to blow my nose. That's why.
Yeah. So there's that thing, and then at one point, in that as Floyd is leaving, he takes that plate with that venison that he's cooked, dumps it on the floor, and says, "Enjoy your Succor," or however you want to pronounce. That's how they pronounce the word. I don't know how basically enjoy your food.
I think. Let's see.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I'm going to look at the definition.
Well, let's have the conversation. You can look it up later. So there was a crucial scene there where he gave in and ate the meat. And then things kind of turned at that point. So much is there's so much I want to talk about, but it will ruin the plot, and I really want people to see this movie.
So here's the definition if you want to hear it.
No, I know the definition. It was the pronunciation, dude.
I didn't.
Okay, anyway, moving on. Do we have to talk about the definition of this word when we can talk about this movie instead? Let's talk about the movie.
Fair.
Look that up for your own. Google it, right? So, so what happens? So something happens. So he confronts Floyd. There's a kind of a fight. The family sides with Floyd against Jay, and all that stuff's going on. Jay finds out that Floyd, he literally finds out, and I won't say how, that Floyd isn't who he says he is. But Jay is down in, they've sequestered him down in the servants' quarters because he was drunk and aggressive and they thought he was sick. And they were all up at the house. But then something happens, and man, I'm torn because there's such a crucial scene there towards the end of the movie where it's like the elite are lying and living, on the fat of the land in this beautiful place, and they're lying to the people to try to promote themselves because he wanted to run for governor. And the policies that he was promoting to shut everything down was causing the working man to lose their jobs and close their businesses and be poor and starve because he wanted to present an agenda. Jay, I mean.
Yeah.
So then you've got the common man, Floyd, who's trying to kind of regain some control in this class warfare and is making some headway. And then something happens and it completely flips, and in the end, the elites win anyway. The elites come out on top anyway. So it's like, it's kind of this social commentary. It's like, it doesn't matter what the elites do. It doesn't matter how the upper class, how bad they are, somehow they're going to come out on top.
I wouldn't even call
I hated that.
The elites winning. Because you see something in the wife's eyes at the end is like, I need to get out of here.
No.
You see something in her eye.
Nope.
Really?
Nope. You got that completely wrong. What you saw was, because she found out the truth of something, which is a kind of a important piece of the plot that you need to watch. She confronts her husband with it, and he says, basically that Floyd was innocent. I'm not going to say any more than that. She confronts her husband with it, and he says, but it's over. He was not innocent of anything. He was a bad man kind of stuff. And we are back. That was his phrase, I think. We are back. And she calmly went and sat back down at her end of the table, and she paused, and then she looked at him with a little bit of a smile on her face and said, "We're back." So she gave into that because, like, we have our stuff. So even though she knew her husband did something bad, it was all about status. Ultimately, it came down to it was about status and privilege. And she gave into that.
And there's this last little bit of scene. There's this last little bit of scene where he is looking at her and just like you see him pick up a steak, fully cooked, in his hands, and then he just takes a bite.
He's just gnawing on it at the end, right?
This former vegetarian is now happily eating meat.
So what do you think? What do you think the meat represented in this movie?
I think the meat represented. Well, let's see. Because I got to organize my thoughts a little bit. I think the meat represented the ability to take charge because for the longest time, Jay didn't take charge. He lived on the backs of people who did take charge, passing off stories as his own when he was just on the sidelines, keeping things to himself. Literally thinking the pen is truly mightier than the sword and using his pen like a sword. So he just lived on the sidelines. But then when he finally took power and did what he did with Floyd, he finally saw that sometimes you have to do things to survive and to take power.
Sometimes you have to get dirty. I get that. And
exactly.
But also I think that meat kind of represented the working class, the middle class, the lower SES, and the clean vegetarian stuff kind of represented the upper class, the elites, the privileged.
Gotcha.
And at the end, the way I saw that scene was he's eating the lower class people. He's won, and he's just eating them. And just I'm exerting my dominance over you. That's kind of the way I saw it. I agree with you that I think that eating the meat was kind of a representation of you've got to get dirty and you've got to get into the working mode. You can't just sit in your ivory tower all the time. I agree with you, but I think in that moment, to me it felt like he's like, I win. This right here, this hunk of meat is the working class, is the working man, and I win. That's the way I saw it. So, listen, we get dogs when we do this. When we roll the dice, we get some really bad movies. But we've got some really good movies before. And this is one of them. Dude, I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about, like 10 sci-fi movies that are vastly underrated that nobody knows about. And I think 3 or 4 of them we've gotten to watch for this podcast. Vast of Night, Cohesion, and then there was one other one. I just thought it was kind of cool that we've just randomly gotten some pretty kind of underrated movies that people need to see. So this is also one that if you're listening to this, you need to go check out this movie. It's on Hulu. It's not a very long movie. It's like an hour and a half. It's an easy watch. And it's definitely worth it. And Peter Sarsgaard just was fantastic in this role. So if you're wanting something that's kind of like a metaphor for the COVID years and for the class warfare and all the economic stressors and stuff that went on during COVID, and then look at this class war and kind of seeing what those battles really are, this was just really good. So I can't recommend it enough. Any other parting shots before we look for our next movie? Hello?
I don't normally... What? I'm here.
I know I'm talking to you.
I'm here.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, I don't say this often. Yeah. But I would watch this movie again. I would totally 100% watch this movie again. And I don't say that a lot about the movies that we roll here. I think I've only said that for a handful of the movies we've watched.
Yeah.
I would actually sit down and purposely put them on and watch them again.
Yeah, there's several that I would watch again. There's several that I have gone back and watched again just because I liked them. But yeah, this is one that I think your mom would like this one. So I might try to get her to watch it. So anyway, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's roll for the next movie, and then we'll go and then we'll get out of here. Okay. So let me shake up my dice box. All right. So we're gonna roll, and we're gonna see.
Man, my Wi-Fi is just not doing well.
Yeah, your Wi-Fi is acting funky tonight. So all right. So we roll first to see what streaming service we're going to watch, and I rolled a 7, so based on our little category, that means we're going to watch another Hulu movie. And then I rolled an 8, because we rolled to see what genre of movie, and so that would be a horror movie on Hulu, so we're going to watch a horror movie on Hulu. And then I rolled a 7, and then we roll a 100-sided die to see which movie in that genre going down the list is the one we're going to watch. And I rolled a 73. So I'm going to go to the horror section on Hulu and find the 73rd movie in the list, and that's what we're going to watch. So y'all hang tight. I will be right back. Okay, this is a movie from 2024, so fairly new movie. It's called Getaway. The tagline is, a family's vacation to a remote getaway takes an unexpected turn when they discover the island they're on is inhabited by a serial killer. But here's the weird thing. I go into the horror section, I scroll down to the 73rd movie in the horror section, but then when you look at this movie, it's listed as a comedy. So I'm thinking it's going to be one of those horror comedy. It says it's a comedy, but it's in the horror section. So I think it's going to be like one of those horror comedy things, like Tucker and Dale, Meet Evil or whatever that movie was that we watched. Stuff like that. So it could be interesting.
Alan Tudyk was in that, right?
Yes, he was. Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's what we're going to watch.
That was a fun movie.
We're going to watch a movie called Getaway, which is a horror movie on Hulu for our 99th episode, which, barring any unforeseen issues, should be next week. That's always the plan, is to be the next week.
Jeez, 99.
Yeah, I know,
right?
What
we should do for our 100th movie?
Oh, no. Yeah, your mom was asking me that tonight, so we need to talk about that and see if there's something special we want to do for our 100th episode. So anyway...
You know what?
What?
You know what?
What?
Did you know Gora made a sequel?
Yeah, maybe we should watch the Gora sequel if we can find it on one of the streaming services. There you go. So, okay. So that's it for us tonight, guys. Thanks, Duck, for popping into the chat on the stream.
Thank you,
anybody
always good to have you, man.
Anybody that's listening on the podcast, thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Wherever you get it, if you can leave us a review, that would be awesome. But if you don't, me and Connor are still going to get together every week and talk about nerdy stuff because that's just what we do. So
it's our bro time.
Thanks for listening. Y'all have a good night, and we'll see y'all next time. And always remember,
stay nerdy, my friends.
Still here? It's over. Go home.